Charles Barkley's blaming Draymond Green and his generation for ruining the All-Star weekend. I'm actually blaming our generation. We didn't require anything of these guys, and we shouldn't be blamed that they feel like they don't owe us anything. Who do you blame for the collapse of All-Star weekend and the NBA?
Well, first of all, you don't know how close I came to not doing the show today. I had some general soreness in my throat. Felt as though I needed to look. But I said, you know what? No, I can't. Okay. So can I just back up a little bit to last night when I sent you something about the All-Star game and you called me, and you never call me. You don't return calls. You don't return text. But when you call me, I'm like, oh, Whitlock. And you were stunned. You said, wait, you're watching the All-Star game? And I said, no. You crazy? I'm just telling you about LeBron. I go, he just gave us our show for Monday. In fact, we probably can belabor this for 2 weeks because we're good at that. In terms of the All-Star game, one of my favorite phrases about the decline and how we got here. It was gradual, and then it was sudden. And I kind of side with Charles on this one in a sense that his generation played. He himself individually as a pundit has talked about how he does not like the way the new generation is acting or conducting or protecting the legacy and the traditions of the game. He at least has done his part. Now, the modern day NBA media are a bunch of soft, limp-wristed soy boys who are very liberal who will not dare step out of line. Okay, as I like to say, where have you gone, Peter Vesey and Mark Heisler? But at the end of the day, I do find it incredibly ironic that Draymond is wagging the finger when he was the epicenter of a lot of this. And the reality is this. You cannot legislate or force effort. You can't, and there's no effort. I don't even think it's about the money, Jason. I don't begrudge anyone their money. I'm a capitalist. They should make as much money as humanly possible within the structure. But when you do not give an effort, you lose me. That is the reality. And as I tweeted last night, and it's gotten a lot of traction, Jason, I ask you this question in terms of what is going on with the NBA and its behavior and effort. Can you put the toothpaste back into the tube? I don't think you can.
No, I don't think you can. And again, at this level of financial security, you certainly can't. I mean, it's like Marvin Hagler. You start sleeping on silk sheets and getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning just doesn't hit the same. And so now these guys would, they barely want to play 60 games and all that. But I go back to my point, though. They haven't anteed up. If you have a tremendous amount of potential and talent, you're getting escorted right into the NBA with a multi-million-dollar contract from the NBA, money from a shoe company, and that whole rite of passage of, hey, go build a great college career and then come into the NBA. That was a rite of passage. You earned your way into the NBA. I just don't think it's true now. It's all about potential. It's a genetics lottery. Right. And so we shouldn't be surprised that if you don't ante up, if you don't earn your way in, why would you take care of something that you haven't really invested in?
Well, Jason, that's a good point, but we have to be factual about this. So the days where we grew up as college basketball fanatics, Ralph Sampson stayed 4 years, Patrick Ewing stayed 4 years, Michael Jordan stayed 3 years. James Worthy, I think, played 3 years. I mean, there was a time that if a guy left before his junior year, you really were like, wow. Derek Coleman was an excellent player, stayed all 4 years, became the #1 pick. Okay, so, but we have to be honest about it. After that generation, beginning really with Kevin Garnett, and I believe that was the 94-95 draft, and then specifically with Kobe, that was the shift. But Jason, I would say the NBA was okay with those guys for one reason. They had a passion. They had a professionalism. They cared. The load management, to me, has been the biggest issue. That was where we began. It was the epicenter. And if you don't care as the participants, why should we care as the consumer?
Bitcoin isn't going anywhere, so why not start stacking some today? The Fold app gives you Bitcoin rewards when you buy gift cards. At Amazon, Uber, DoorDash, and Home Depot, over 50 national merchants. Go to foldapp.com/Whitlock right now or scan the QR code on your screen. New users get a Bitcoin bonus with their first gift card purchase. Start earning Bitcoin rewards today. Fold app.
I'm just telling you, if you do not have a certain type of meaning, that if you're going to tell me, hey, these games from all the way from late October to mid-March or mid-April do not matter, I'll take your word for it. Bottom line, I think the load management has really allowed this to become almost a laissez-faire type of league. And look, I thought it was apropos that LeBron James decided to load manage on an all-star game. I mean, Jason, a lot of people were outraged. I wasn't. Do you remember the Laugh Olympics as a kid? The Laugh Olympics, the Saturday morning cartoon, Hanna-Barbera. Remember Scooby-Doo had a team? I think Yogi Berra had a team. But the best team was the Really Rottens. And they had this dog. This dog was a Muttley. Remember Muttley would always do that funny laugh? When I heard that, I did the Muttley laugh. Because I said, there you go. There you go. That is symbolic. It is emblematic of the NBA and who really helped bring that down. When you look at what is taking place in the NBA right now and you distill it into one person, it's LeBron James.
Steve, I'm going to push back a tiny bit. Do you believe in the slippery slope? And when people talk about, hey, there's a slippery slope. Okay. Yeah. This is like, hey, if we just have same-sex marriage, you know, that's all we want. And there were people that were like, nah, if you do that, we're going to end up with gender-affirming cutting balls off of little kids and blah, blah. And people, no, that's crazy. It'll never lead to that, blah, blah, blah. And the slippery slope people were right. And so I'm going to walk you through the basketball thing. And again, and I say this in all seriousness, you bring a levity and a joy to this show and a historical knowledge and references and all that other stuff that just really adds to the dynamic between you and I. And what I bring, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but it's just reality, I try to keep us way ahead of the conversation. And so I'm telling you, years ago, me and Billy Packer used to talk about the stupidity of these straight out of high school, one and done, and like, hey, eventually this is going to backfire on the NBA. We used to have these conversations in real time.